Well, hello. It's good to be back, my little freaky rats. Just me. Sorry to disappoint if you were expecting more. But thank you, Dylan, for joining the last episode of the pod. Truly, such a fabulous time. I mean, it's a fabulous time, I think, anytime Dylan and I hang out. When we're not canceling on each other, which is quite often, to be honest. But I did want to clarify some things because, some shots were fired towards me for my driving skills. And while it is true that I'm not the best driver, I'm not the worst. You know what I mean? Yes, was the accident in Birmingham my fault? I rear-ended somebody else. But not every, actually. Let me just. I think all of the accidents I have been in have been my fault, but not necessarily. You know what I mean? I don't think I've been in more wrecks than the average person. And actually, knock on wood, but since I've had my new car, actually, I can't even say that since I haven't gotten in like an official wreck or anything, but of course I've dinged it up. I don't know. I think I'm just incapable of like not messing up my cars or running into things. And now my car has like, when you back up, it kind of like shows you like a 360 or whatever. And I was already reliant on my backup camera to begin with. Like, I don't know how to drive without a backup camera anymore. And Matthew yells at me a lot because he's like, that's not how you're supposed to drive. Like, you should still know how to back up without your camera. And I'm like, sorry, don't know how to do that around here. But now that I have this like 360 and I have like a camera in the front that shows me like how close I could be to the curb, let me tell you, there are times where I'm backing out and I forget like, oh wait, the one thing my backup camera is not gonna show me is people coming this way. So, or like something out of view. So, I gotta get better at looking both ways and not being so reliant on technology. But I mean, like, why create the technology if you don't want me to rely on it? You know what I mean? So, but I just wanted to clarify that I'm not the worst driver. And actually, I wind up driving Dylan and I around way more because what he failed to mention is his car's fucking disgusting. Um like if he is going to drive me somewhere, he's like, "Hold on, I got to clean out my car first," because he knows that like I will just give him shit for it. Granted my car's like not the cleanest, but like it's not that it's not clean. It's just like there's like the back seat one has a car seat in it now. There's a bunch of toys back there because like there's if you're a mom, you get it. Like you have to have certain toys that only exist in certain places because or maybe it's just my son, but the car toys stay in the car so that they're super exciting when we're in the car. Because otherwise, like if he's seen it that morning already, he'll be like, "Bitch, who do you think you are? Like, I don't care about this toy." So I have to be really specific about where I use my toys and how often I use them. But my car is not that nasty. So, Dylan, you should work on that. That should be your goal for 2025. But my goal for 2025 is to learn how to not be late, which is actually crazy because I have never been someone who's like naturally late in my entire life because I'm so type A that everything is like planned to the minute. And since having a kid, that is the farthest thing. Like I could say that I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, but I'm not going to be. Or like, for example, like I had my branding pics with Randy, which this is Side note, shout out Randy. If you're in the Pensacola area, I mean, not even necessarily like, even if you're in Fort Walton, like, um, still, if you're in the Panhandle, check Randy out. She's also offering something this year where, like, if you're having a wedding abroad, that if you pay her travel, don't quote me, you'll check out her Instagram page and Facebook. It's at rmason_photography. Um, she has like all the details there, but essentially, like, if you're having a wedding abroad, she'll like shoot it for free. You just have to pay for her travel and like obviously like where she's staying, which is a freaking steal, to be honest. So, but anyways, I felt so bad because I was like 20 minutes late to our session, which, I mean, like, in reality, I mean, I know I'm wasting her time. But I'm like was wasting my time more because like that's cutting out of the time that I get for like my shots and stuff. So, but I was late because the night before, my son like started not feeling well, and literally would not sleep unless he was with me. Um, and I don't want to hear anything from the co sleeping haters because I'm going to tell you right now, if I can put him in bed with me and know that he's going to be asleep and not wake up and sleep through the rest of the night versus me playing like, let me get my ass up and run back and forth to his room 15 million times, he's going to be in the bed. Period. I don't, you know. But anyways, so he wound up in my bed that night, but I had like planned on like basically packing all my stuff up because I had to pack up like the pod equipment because we were going to, use some of it. I had to have like outfits and things like that. And I had planned on having all of it like packed up in my car um the night before, but obviously he goes to bed way earlier than I would. So then I was forced to be in bed super early and basically just I find ways to scroll on my phone or like I read like on my Kindle or something like while he's in bed with me. But yeah, so then I wound up that morning like running around and being late, and I was like literally having a panic attack on the way to her studio like, I'm so sorry. But it just stresses me out. Like I literally hate being late. And I think it's just inevitable when you have a child. So PSA to all of those individuals that are childless, please have some grace on those who do have children, because I can tell you right now, I was that bitch before I had a kid who was like, how hard could it fucking be to show up somewhere on time? It's hard. Because just like when I think about, like, oh my God, yay, it's like Saturday, it's time to rot. What do you mean? Like, I can rot during his nap time, but there's also other things I have to do. Anyways, I'm getting into very niche stuff. But being late is like my biggest pet peeve. I'm trying to be better about it. I think really the biggest thing now, like with kind of the shift in my life and having a kid, that will help me not be late is like the pre-planning. So like having the diaper bag and having everything like ready night before, having everything packed up night before. So essentially like day of or whatever the thing will be is just essentially everybody in the household getting ready. So also regarding my like branding picks, um I bought like cakes before they were this like huge like TikTok shop, like rave whatever. And like I remember when I first bought them, I was like, "Oh my god, yay!" Because like the little like the girlies will get it, like the little petals, and even like not the little petals, like any of the gel ones that are like actually sticky, they just like are not flush with your skin. So it's still noticeable. So I'm like, I almost should just be nips out with you seeing the color of my nips and everything. Like, because to me, that's not the part that I care about. Like, I don't care if you can see, like, the outline of my nip, but the color, like, I'm like, okay, that's taking a little too far for me. So that's like why I would use something like that. But cakes freaking suck. Like, unless you are wearing something that is absolutely skin freaking tight, like they're not staying on. They're like bunching up and doing whatever. So I'm not a fan of them at all. And I was literally like getting so frustrated during my pictures because like one of the tops I was wearing was super skin tight. So they were staying on really well. But then another one that I was wearing was like a little bit looser. So like I felt like they were gonna fall off. So Randy did tell me about like some that Target has that are essentially the same thing. I have bought them. Obviously, haven't really had a reason to wear them recently. But as soon as I do, I will update you guys. And if you guys have done it too, let me know. Or if there's like another brand similar, let me know because the idea of cakes is great. So whoever came up with it, great, phenomenal. Because they're thin, I get how it should work, but it just doesn't. So how do we make something like that work? The girlies, I'm sure, can come together to figure something out, and it needs to be figured out truly. So, yeah. What else is going on in my life? Right now, my backyard is a war zone because I'm getting a whole new back deck. It's going to be very bougie. I'm going to be living my best life. Um, how am I getting this done, you ask? Well, my secret in life with getting my husband to do anything that I need him to do is I have a party, a housewarming party, a birthday party, a whatever kind of party. Simply have a party because then it's like, oh my God, well, people are going to be here. So, like, this has to be done. Other way I was able to get things done was when I was nesting, and it was like, oh my God, like, this is going to have to be done because we're going to have a kid. When are you going to do it? But that's how I get things done. So obviously my son's birthday is coming up. So I'm hosting it here because I just don't feel like a party for a 1-year old is like really something I should be like renting out a place for, like maybe when he's older. So I'm like, it just needs to be here, whatever. But when we bought our house, beautiful house, like pretty much everything's been renovated, I mean, within the last like maybe 5-10 years, so like nothing super super outdated. um and but the biggest thing was like the backyard was just not giving. The deck that was out there was freaking tiny, and it was just like this wood little deck, and there was just like there were like trees and bushes and landscaping everywhere, and like great if that's your thing, but for me I'm like, why are there bushes in the backyard? Like, I don't understand. And then like I have 2 dogs, one whom is a male and pees on literally everything known to man. So you could just walk back on the back porch and it smells like piss because he's peeing on all the bushes that are surrounding the deck. So needless to say, we're moving in the right direction. Last weekend he like ripped all the bushes up, got the old deck removed. We're prepping this weekend, and a lot of you are probably like, he's doing this? Yes. Yes. Granted, he is in construction, so like go off, sis. He clearly knows what he's doing, so I'm not worried about that. And even if he doesn't, he'll just watch a billion YouTube videos and then like cuss himself for like an hour until he figures out how to do it. But he just refuses to hire people. That's another way I get things done is like I'll be like, well, I can just hire somebody. Like he hates cutting the grass. It's like, and I mean, I don't cut the grass. I don't want to cut the grass either. And you won't catch me cutting the grass. I'm just a girl. What do you mean? Cut the grass? Oh my God. Outside chores? I'm a girly. What are we talking about? Mm-mm. I'm all for gender roles when it comes to you will not catch me outside unless it's my garden I'm tending to. Even then, I need him. Like you're the one with the edger attachment for your. Why can't I think of the word right now? Um, for your weed eater. So you're the one who has to like trim some of my bushes and stuff that are in the front. You know what I mean? So, um, but another way I can get things done is by threatening to hire someone. So like my favorite pastime is threatening to hire someone to come do our lawn. Also because like everyone in our neighborhood does like hire someone. I think maybe 3 people on our street do their own yards. So I'm like, I mean, it's not like we'd be following suit. And he's like, yeah, let me spend that much money and waste my money. And I'm like, okay, well, then make my yard look pretty. Also, they have people now that will come scoop your dog shit like weekly for like $20. Fucking steal to me. Also, though, like you could sell me anything given that it makes my life easier. So like scooping dog shit, absolutely. Because do I want to scoop dog shit? No. Does Matthew want to scoop dog shit? No. Um, so who's gonna do it? I mean, obviously he winds up doing it because before he mows, he needs to do that. But I keep reminding him, I'm like, oh my God, when our son gets older, the poop's gonna have to be scooped way more because he's just gonna be like running around outside and blah 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 blah. So we should really hire these people. And he's like, "What? Literally, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, that's the biggest waste of money." And I just think that's hateful because I don't see it's $20, you know. But then he'll give me the whole spiel about, well, $20 over a year every week. So I'm like, all right, you scoop it then. So then he scoops it. So that's kind of how I get things done. Not that that's healthy. Not that if a therapist is listening right now, they're probably like, she is not using any of the right systems to to get things done in her household. And you know what? That's fine because that's how I get things done. Hmm. Um, I'm gonna hire somebody. Oh, and guess what? I'm gonna have a party. Oh my God! Looks like you have to get it done now. So sorry. I feel really bad for you. I don't. Not at all. But on the like topic of like houses and stuff, I was talking with my friend the other day. Because she was just like, I just legitimately don't understand how people afford to buy a house. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like straight up, if it was just me, I mean, I wouldn't like, yes, I would probably be able to afford to buy a house, but would I? No. Because I think about like all of the like little maintenance things here and there. Like, I don't know, like something was wrong with our toilet where it was like randomly like flushing on its own or whatever. And do you think I know anything about that? No. So like I would have had to call a plumber. Here Matthew just does some Google searches and YouTubes and it's like, oh yeah, I can go to Home Depot and I can fix it. And I'm like, cool. Probably saved me like $200 because like a plumber is not going to even come in your home and talk to you for less than like $100 service charge. You know what I mean? Um, but like when I really think about it, and of course, my realtor and my loan originator are gonna come for me for this episode because they're gonna be like, "Bitch, what the fuck?" Um, I don't think, and I'm sure the finance people are gonna come for me too. I don't think that buying a house is actually financially like what everybody makes it seem to be. Like everybody's like, oh, it's something you own. Well, first of all, I don't own this house. I have a 30-year mortgage and then I will own this house. Second of all, like the first like 10 years of your mortgage is literally interest. Like you're just paying interest. And then you finally get to where you're like paying on your house, which is absurd. I digress on that. I could like rant about that for ages. Um, but then you got to think about, so then like, within my mortgage payment, you have your escrow, which is, your insurance and, your property taxes and whatever. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about it, but I do know that I called my friend and, like our loan originator, shout out Jamie, a couple weeks ago because I was like, bitch, tell me why the fuck my mortgage just went up like $500. I was like, I don't even think they sent me a piece of mail about this. Like, I just noticed it coming out of the bank account. And she was like, wait, what? And so she's like, let me figure this out. And she's like, oh, yeah, like your property taxes. Because, as soon as you buy a home, like they're going to reassess your property value. So, of course, like the property value went up since the last time it was sold. Great for me. So, all of those things you factor in. Granted, yes, okay, when you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Cool. I'll pay their mortgage because when the hot water heater goes out, when the AC goes out, when something's broken, all of those things are not my problem. And I think like that's what like me and Matthew were talking about it the other day. And I mean, like he still is obviously on the like, well, owning something. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not going to be like worthwhile for like our child because he'll sell it and he'll get the money off of it. But it's not like it's going to be something I think in the end that if you crunched all the numbers, we like wound up saving money or making money that somebody who rented didn't. Because yes, renting is throwing away that money, but like in Florida, I'm pretty sure like every 10 years now, even though like roofs are what like guaranteed for like 15 to 20 or even longer, I think depending on what kind you get. I'm pretty sure like insurances are starting to make you replace them like every 10 years now. So that's a like several $1,000s. That's my responsibility. My water heater, my responsibility. Like I'm pretty sure the only things that have ever been like my responsibility, obviously, in places that I've rented are like a washer and dryer. Like if it didn't have one. So like obviously if my washer and dryer went out or something, then like that's on me. Otherwise, hello, maintenance, come here. Um I think like people's biggest thing with like renting is like obviously like if you don't like the layout of something or whatever, like you can't change it. I mean, most places you can paint. Um I think like one of the places I even rented, it was like you can paint and like they wouldn't even charge you because like they repaint no matter what for like new tenants coming in. So but I was like, why would I paint this rental because knew I wasn't going to be there long. um I mean, obviously most places you can hang stuff on the wall. I do think some rentals are very strict about like not hanging TVs on the wall, which I could see why, because like I mean, we have some TVs hung on the wall and have hung TVs on the wall before. And like, I mean, they make some big holes in the drywall. So we're talking about like, a good amount of labor to fill in those holes. So I get that. But I mean, you can customize your rental to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. And I feel like I'm probably like the worst person to talk about this because like, well, bitch, you have a house. So like, why do you even care? But I really think about it and I'm like, okay, like here we are. We're like pouring this back deck and doing like all this work to our backyard. And that's my responsibility. Am I definitely adding to the value of my home? For sure. Is like, am I going to get it all back? Probably only because of the fact that my husband is capable of like doing this himself with like a couple of like people he's going to steal from work and we're just going to pay them in pizza, beer and throw them some cash for the day. Um but like otherwise, yeah, we would probably not get our money back because it would just be so expensive. Um But on the flip side, here I am saying like, oh yeah, we're about to do that. Like I wouldn't be able to do that in a rental. Like if I hated the back deck, it would just be, sorry, I hate the back deck. Um, so all that to be said, I definitely would not own a home if I was single just because I feel like I would truly be wasting money because I'd have to pay someone to come do everything. I mean, yeah, am I capable of Googling and YouTubing? For sure. Do I want to? No. So it's just a thought I had. So, not that I am a finance girly or know anything, and not that any of my advice should be taken seriously, but I don't know, maybe just don't buy the house. Just rent. Who knows? Up to you. Also the other day I was like in Target and there was someone in front of me in line, and as I'm saying this I'm like, well, this is probably why they have this, but anyways, what why are people still using privacy screens? Are we joking? Like, this is 2025. And also, I feel like privacy screens are so high school behavior because, like, I mean, I had a privacy screen on my phone in high school because I was like terrified of like my dad seeing anything on it. Like, didn't even matter if it was like me just texting my friend. Like, I just didn't need an argument to happen. So I didn't want him to see. But like, why are adults out here with privacy screens? Like, I get it on like computers, maybe like for work and stuff, like, like especially like doctors and, anybody who has to deal with like HIPAA and stuff. Sure. hmm And I mean, yeah, I guess maybe if it's your work phone, and again, you have like HIPAA, protected health information that you need to hide, have a privacy screen. Why are you out? Like, why is like, Sally with her two kids in Target? Why does she have a privacy screen? No, no one is interested. No one. And then, when like someone with a privacy screen tries to show you something and it's like, can you just hand me your phone? Because I can't see it because you have a privacy screen. What do you think is so important to hide from me? I don't care. I just don't. I don't understand why adults still have these, and even kids. If they're still around by the time my son has a phone, no, sir. We're not weird. Be be truthful to who you are. And also, what is the point in having a privacy screen when you can literally like, I mean, at least on an iPhone, you can tailor like what your notifications will show. Like you can tailor it to like your messages. Like if your phone's not unlocked, it's not going to give you a preview. Like all of those things. So I'm like, why do you even need the privacy screen? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, if you're like texting, but like, what are you hiding? Are you in the CIA? I don't think that privacy screens are needed anymore, and I don't understand how they're still in business. That's my rant. Not my feral thought for the week. That's just a rant because I just got really heated about that. I'm sorry. Let me calm down. I almost like I just got overstimulated, which happens a lot. And I feel like I was talking, it might have been Dylan who I was talking to about like, for me, when I feel emotions, like it's not usually like sad. I mean, obviously I get sad. And like I feel happiness. Like it's not like I don't feel any emotions. But I feel like for me, like my go-to emotion is like rage. Not necessarily like rage, like anger, like I don't know. As soon as I'm overstimulated or I'm touched out, because as I mentioned in the last episode, I literally hate physical touch. It's awful, and it's and I love Matthew so much, and this is no shade to him whatsoever, but like his number one love language is physical touch. Um, so that's tough, real tough, because I literally like hate being touched. And it's not even like And then obviously it's not my number one love language, so I don't even think about like going out of my way to like be like, "Oh, let me give you a hug," or like, "Oh, whatever." But like it's like as soon as he walks through the door, it's like kiss, hug, and I'm like, Whoa, slow down. I need a second." Um, I think it's just like exacerbated since having a child though, because like my child, go figure, just like his dad loves physical touch. I mean, I think that's probably all children, but like literally climbs over me all day, beats up on me all day, like slobbers on me all day. I'm really making those of you who don't have kids really want them, huh? Um, but and then I'm like so touched out by the end of the day that like Matthew and I get in bed and I'm like, mm-mm, 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 mm. But I am becoming nicer, like in the middle of the night. I like do a little wake up and I'm like tapping him like, "Hey, you want to come snuggle?" Cuz like I can't go to sleep and I need like a bear hug to go to sleep. So it's actually not for him, it's for me, but we're not going to tell him that. But I don't know why, like I just like my immediate, and I feel like this is probably everybody, but like overstimulation just immediately like, the song that plays in my head is like, "I Mr. Rage." Like that literally over and over again. I'm just like, please. Um, so and then I'm like, who am I helping? Like after the fact, think about it. And I'm like, who did that help? Me being overstimulated, raging, screaming, then overstimulated me more. Wow. Way to go, girlie. That totally worked. So, yeah. Also, it's so weird, and I mean, it's obviously like an ADHD thing, but like, what overstimulates me? Um, but I do know for me, like, because I'm so type A, once things become like less and less out of my control, then I'm overstimulated, or like, first of all, I like I do not, I think Target and maybe like old time pottery, which you would think old time pottery would overstimulate me, but it really doesn't, because I just like I could spend all day in there. I digress. Um, but I refuse, like I don't go into the grocery stores anymore unless like I just absolutely have to. Everything is a pickup order. I will do an Aldi pickup order. I will do a Walmart pickup order. I will do Target pickup orders, like anything. Oh, Sam's Club. You will not catch me in Sam's Club, because Pensacola needs to figure the fuck out. Like, first of all, where are all these people? Like, I don't even know where they're popping up at and populating to, because there's no room. So that means they're living out in like the country of Pensacola, which good for you, but like, and then where are you getting jobs? Like, where are you getting these jobs? And then we have no infrastructure. Look at me. I'm sounding like a man right now, like ranting about things that literally could, anyways. But all that to say, we are supposed to be getting a Costco soon. Good on that. But we have a BJ's, which I've never been into. Apparently, it's pretty cool. Let me know if you've been there. And then we have Sam's Club, and that's it. So you can imagine Sam's Club on the weekends. I would rather gouge my eyes out than walk into Sam's Club on the weekends. Even during the week, it's absolutely insane, because I think I remember I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go like on Wednesday. Like, sure, like Wednesday morning, right when they open up. Surely it's going to be like dead. No, I'm like, "Oh my god." So I do pick up orders for literally everything, because that is overstimulation, especially with like adding in a child to it, where I'm like, "Okay, I got to make sure I'm getting my list. Okay, are you good? Quit mouthing the freaking cart. Oh, I forgot the thing that covers the cart, just literally everything." And then for me, like the grocery store's never been like a peaceful thing, but like it's just nice to go into a store and be able to like walk down the aisles and like not be like, "Oh, excuse me. Oh, oh, sorry, excuse me, like all around people. And I feel like that's literally all that you do anymore. And I'm like, that's not, no, thank you. So the only time I'm going into a store is if I physically like have to go like try something on, or yeah, if I can't do anything but go in. Um so that's how I am working on solving some of my overstimulation. Other than that, it's so weird what what will overstimulate me actually. Um we Sydney, Dylan and I a couple weeks ago went to a Mexican restaurant, and I swear to God, this server made me so mad. And I feel like I am okay on saying this because I used to be a server. So, like, step the fuck up, first of all. You have, like, I saw what your section was. We were like your only table. So, what are you fucking off about in the back? Like, you could at least just, like, you don't have to come talk to me every couple minutes, but just walk by the table because I'll look at you and you'll know I need something. Um, so I was ready to like go. We're ready to go. We're ready for boxes, and we're just sitting there. Literally just sitting there. And my kid is like jumping over the table, like being his little demon self. We love him for that though. He's exploring the world, and I'm just like looking at Dylan and Sydney, and I'm like, he has he has 2 minutes. He has 2 minutes, or I'm making a scene, because I just kept like the rage was just building. Finally, he shows up and like I'm like, here's the card. Like, I don't even need to look at the check. Like, here's the card. Come on, let's go. Boxes. Thank you. We need to get out of here. Um, I just don't understand. That made me so 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 mad, to the point where literally Dylan still brings it up, and he's like, here's, you better be thankful that I was quiet because I wanted to mess with you. And I'm like, mm-hmm. I better be thankful. I'm like, you're thankful that you were quiet because you know what rage Fallon is. And you don't want to see her. You don't. You don't. Even like my laundry. Again, this is like how type A, and like it's not OCD, because people who like say like, oh my God, I'm so OCD, like things have to be like so clean. I'm like, that's literally not OCD. Like, OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So we're talking about like someone who like has like rituals, and like, say like you enter a room and you always have to turn the light on with your left hand, but you enter a room and you turn it on with your right hand. Like, someone with OCD is then going to like perseverate and like not stop thinking and having this like obsessive thought about how they did that wrong until they literally just like redo it and go do it the way they need to do. And they could be lashing out and being like raging too. Um, but I'm just particular about things. Even my laundry. I remember when Matthew and I first started dating, bless his soul, because he was trying to be very nice. This is when we still were like living separately. But obviously I had like a key to my apartment, and I guess I had like some laundry or something that was either in the washer already, or maybe he saw my hamper and then put it in the washer, and then, wound up putting it in the dryer, but put everything in the dryer. And if you're a girly, and actually I don't think all girlies do this, but like, if you're a girly like me, that's not good. I am very like, there are things that get hung up because simply you cannot dry them, because actually if you read the tag, you're not supposed to dry them, or you're like supposed to tumble dry low or whatever. And then like, like bras and underwear and stuff like that, like you like which I'm like not really big on it right now anymore, because I'm like, ugh, who really cares? But like, they have like little lingerie bags that you put them in. And then I have like this little spinny hanging thing where you hang them up, because that's how you get your clothes to last longer. Like, there's certain things that you do with your laundry that like makes it last longer. I don't know. Maybe that's like the one thing that obviously growing up in a Southern household, you're taught as a woman, is like what you're supposed to be hanging up and what you're not. So anyways, I come home and Matthew's like done the laundry. You know, he like folded it, put it all up and everything. And I was like, well, one, I was stressed out because the way he folded and put things away, I was like, what is this? But you know, I'm trying to be thankful too because like it's the beginning of our relationship. I'm like, Fallon, don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. And so I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And so like literally I'm nice about it until I think we were gonna like go out that night or something. And the like romper I wanted to wear was one of those things that had just gotten washed. And I'm like, where is it? And he's like, oh, well, I folded it and put it in this drawer. And I'm like, okay, baby, well, first of all, this is something that would be hung up. And then second of all, like, why is it folded? Because it would be something that was hung up and like hung up to dry. And he's like, what do you mean? Which is crazy that like now that I think about it, because like, you know, I know his mom and things like that, like she hangs stuff up. There's things that she doesn't dry. So I'm like, I know you've seen in your lifetime how women like don't dry things. And, you know, so of course, you know, my mental note to myself to be nice because he had done my laundry for me went out the window when then my romper was literally so shrunk and I was like, okay, well, this is ruined. Like, it literally didn't fit me anymore. And I had like just gotten it. I think I maybe wore it once, if even that because I probably like I think I've mentioned before, I'm a one um time wearer type of girly. Um so if I've worn something and taking a picture of it, this is so bad. I'm not gonna wear it again. Or if I do, like it's gonna be a really, really long time from now. Anyways, so I was like, don't ever touch my clothes again. Like, literally, don't touch them ever again. So I think, like, and that was, we're talking like 7 years ago, probably. And we're just now to the point where, like, I can be like, hey, can you go put my laundry in the washer? And he's like, yeah. And then when it gets time to like move it over to the dryer, like, it used to be like, I would just have to go do it. Or he'd be like, no, come with me and like tell me what can be dried and not be dried. And he would like start to kind of remember. Um, now he's, I'm going to give him like a round of applause because he does really good. I can tell him to go do my laundry and he can put it in the washer and do it right. And he, for the most part, unless it's like something new that I've bought and he hasn't like seen me hang it up before and like not dry it. That did happen, but thankfully it like didn't shrink a week or so ago. He does a great job. So men are trainable for sure. Absolutely trainable. Um so my feral thought for the week. I thought long and hard about this one, and I don't really think it's a feral thought, more so a unpopular opinion maybe, but I'm going to call it a feral thought. There are such things as stupid questions. Period. End of discussion. I know that they try to teach you in school that there is no such thing as a stupid question because, you know, they don't want to defeat like a kid's spirit, but there is. So defeat the spirits. Like, people need to know that they're asking a dumb question from an early age so that when they're an adult, they don't continue that behavior. I could really get into something super niche on a dumb question, but I'm not because it's like really niche and I don't know a lot of people are going to understand it. But like, nothing makes me more furious than a dumb question. Like, did you read? Did you read? I think that's like my biggest thing at work too, is like when I make a program or something like that, and like I like write up instructions for everything, and then there will be a question about it, and I'm like, well, did you read my procedure? No. Oh, read it and get back to me. Like what? What? So normalize letting people know that they just asked a dumb question. You can answer it, but let them know that it was stupid so that they don't do it in the future. And that's my feral thought. So thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Feral Thoughts. Now that episodes 1 through 4 are done, I'm freaking pumped. Like, this is crazy. We're really out here. So we're launching, all of the 4 episodes are coming out all together. They're going to come out, obviously not when this comes out, it's not going to make sense. So I'm not really going to say the date, but I'm just saying that from then on out, you will get a weekly episode from me on Mondays. Unless something absolutely terrible just happens. Hopefully not. And then we're going to just keep vibing on Mondays together. Alrighty. So be sure to connect on my socials. We've got Insta, TikTok, and YouTube. All of them are @ Feral Thoughts Pod. It's going to help you stay in the loop. See some teasing clips of episodes before they launch. It'll be also probably where I try to interact with you guys the most, as far as like Q&As, topics you may want to hear about, like polls about things, so that I can like share some stuff on the pod with our interactions on social media. So also, if you're loving the pod, please don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a review, comment, and until next time, my rats, see ya.